It's Thursday, July 4. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, is conducting a survey to get a deeper understanding of the diaspora's involvement in the Jamaican economy. The survey, which will be used to uniform or inform policy decisions, will cover a broad range of topics such as remittances, the potential sectors for investments, and the types of investments that are of interest to the diaspora community. A pulse survey was administered at the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference held recently at the Jamaica Conference Center in downtown Kingston. Deputy Governor of the BOJ, Dr. Wayne Robinson, noted that the study will garner information through different sources such as remittance businesses. Contact will also be made with the diaspora through various associations, especially in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Dr. Robinson said the compilation and analysis of the data should be completed by the latter part of this year. Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PBCJ President Howard Mitchell is welcoming the recommendation that Petrojam be turned over to a private sector entity on a long-term lease. The recommendation was made by the Christopher Zaka-led Petrojam Review Committee, PRC, in its report on the state-owned oil refinery. The report was released last Friday. Mr. Mitchell is also calling for provisions to be made for the public to eventually be able to purchase shares in Petrojam. The PRC recommended that Petrojam be leased to the private sector within the next 2 years. President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, the JMEA, Richard Pandoe, says he too supports the PRC's recommendation to lease Petrojam to the private sector. However, he's expressing concern about the possibility of the refinery being shuttered and operated as an import-export terminal. Meanwhile, Mr. Pandoe also supports the call by the Petrojam Review Committee to have an independent regulatory framework to oversee the pricing of fuel. Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, yesterday heard that a second household helper assigned to former Education Minister Ruel Reid was the recipient of contracts from the Caribbean Maritime University, CMU, raising more questions about the operations at the institution. It started when PAAC member Michael Phillips pressed CMU President Professor Fitz Pinnock on the issue and on the operations of a program through which the institution targeted at-risk youth. CMU had partnered with the St. Anne-based company Optimum to deliver the program, while the university provided nutritional support, the curriculum, and certification.
Kim Brown Lawrence?
That's correct.
Is Maureen Kim Brown Lawrence, is it the same Kim Brown Lawrence that is the councillor for the Brownstown division?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes.
And this contract would have been entered into through Optimum?
Yes,
and
sir.
is being paid, as you said,
yes,
through...
Sir. Yes.
All right, so how are we, and the Maureen Blake, is this the same person that is being paid through the ministry as a household helper also for the former minister? PS, are you able to tell us?
Permanent Secretary Dr. Grace McLean said that while she did not have all the details, there was a Maureen Blake who was employed by the ministry as Reid's helper.
I don't have the full information here, sir, but I believe in the early stages of 2016, there was a Maureen Blake that was employed through the ministry as the helper. I am not able to say, however, if she continued throughout the process until the minister left, but I can find that information and provide it, sir.
Public Administration and Appropriations Committee PAAC member Leslie Campbell yesterday referred to Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts principal Dr. Nicolene DeGrasse Johnson as the judge and jury in a case of alleged sexual harassment at the college. PAAC members tried to get a clear picture of how reports of sexual harassment against staff at the institution was handled.
Tell me how it gets there, because the information which has been put before this committee is that there was a complaint which was reduced. One complaint. There were other complaints in 2017. So I want to know how that moved from the receipt of the complaint to the board. How does it get there? Because as I understand it, the disciplinary unit within the board has to be triggered. So I really want to know how it happens at your institution.
Sir, I outlined that already in terms of report is given, it is submitted to the board, and then the board.
To whom?
The report is given to whomever. It's submitted to the board.
To whomever.
To whomever. For the submission that we're dealing with now, it was submitted through the dean of the School of Visual Arts.
Let's just deal with the hypothetical. I don't want to get into the specifics of the matter which is before the board now. I just don't want to run that into that area at all. Just give us the generic thing. I come to, in whichever year I come, and I say I've been abused, how does it move? And that's all I want now. How does it move from the person who receives it to the board? How does it get there?
It moves when a letter is written to the board. You receive the complaint.
The representatives of the tertiary institution were again appearing before the committee following reports of sexual harassment of young girls at the institution by a lecturer and allegations of a cover-up despite several attempts, including reports from the police and written statements against the accuser. The matter came to public attention in a Gleaner expose in May. A student from the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts who alleged sexual harassment charges against a senior faculty member is expected to give in-camera testimony to the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee at its next sitting. Other individuals affiliated with the institution are also expected to appear in camera. The suggestion was put forward by Manchester North Western Member of Parliament Michael Phillips and adopted by the committee at yesterday's meeting of the PAAC at Gordon House. The decision comes after 8 government members on the committee rejected a request for the student, Janelle Blair, and other persons to give testimony at the PAAC. Some government members objected to the testimonies on the grounds that the committee runs the risk of appearing to try the matter, especially since the accused lecturer would not be present.
I am not of the view that the appearance of one of the students involved in that matter of 2017 would take the matter any further, because we are not embarking on our trial. And particularly in circumstances when the alleged offender will not have an opportunity, and there's no contemplation of bringing the alleged offender before this committee, I didn't see the point.
PAAC Chairman Dr. Wickham McNeil said he was disappointed at the government member's response.
No instant case was going to be discussed here. So therefore it was not a trial by any stretch of the imagination. Secondly, this was something that was requested, and I would say that it took great bravery to do so. And I think that it is something that we should commend. And the point I'm making is it also goes to show the commitment and the fact that they feel that it is so important to unearth these problems that we may have. And I strongly believe that it is our duty as people's representatives to listen and listen keenly to what persons are saying on the ground. Hence my disappointment for yesterday.
Following the discussion, the government members agreed to an in-camera sitting with the student. 70% of all cases of sudden cardiac arrest takes place at home. The life saved through CPR could be that of a family member or a close friend. That's the word from Director of Emergency Cardiac Care at the Heart Foundation, Dr. Hugh Wong. The Heart Foundation of Jamaica continues to push for citizens to be trained in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, in order to save lives. In this episode of Living Healthy, we'll take a look at some of the steps in administering CPR. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, involves basic maneuvers that can give someone a chance of surviving until advanced care presents itself. Breathing and pulse are the two key factors in determining if someone needs CPR or not. Here are a few warning signs that CPR might be needed. Sudden collapse, check for breathing and a pulse. Unconsciousness, try to wake the person. If unsuccessful, check for breathing and a pulse. Breathing problems. No breathing or limited breathing may call for CPR. No pulse. If a pulse can't be felt, the heart may have stopped. Drowning, drugs, exposure to smoke and inhalants. Check for breathing and a pulse. Injuries of this nature might call for a combination of rescue breathing and chest compressions. So what is the first thing to do before administering CPR?
Okay. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Shout out. Yes, what do you want? What do you want, ladies and gentlemen?
Ambulance.
If there is no response, then look for signs of life by checking for breathing and a pulse. In the absence of signs of life, persons must always call for help. Either breaths or chest compressions must be administered, but the main focus of CPR should be sustained chest compressions. This is in keeping with the 2008 training manuals of the American Heart Association, which indicated that in cases where persons are unwilling or unable to do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, chest compressions alone can save a life.
So it's normal 30 compressions, 2 breaths for 5 cycles. But for now, doing compressions only. So we're doing 30 compressions together, they will pause, they will continue. I'll do that 5 times. If you don't get it right, you do more for punishment. Ready? Count aloud together after 2. 1, 2, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count aloud, guys.
7, 8, 9, 10.
They should then compress the chest 30 times at a rate of 100 to 120 times per minute. Then give a breath. If no breath is being given, the compressions must be sustained for the entire time.
That's the C. These three fingers form the E. There's an E-C technique, right? Over the nose, and the mouth. Till chin lift, and blow. 1, 2.
Do not touch patient.
2 breaths. Last off. Check if the person is the person back to life. Yes.
The next step is the use of the automated external defibrillator, the AED, after which advanced care should be administered by the first responding health professional, such as an emergency medical technician, an EMT. The Heart Foundation offers training in CPR for individuals, family units, and companies. Health Education Officer at the Heart Foundation, Alonso Mothersill, tells us more.
Well, certificate is really for your own personal development. You contribute to many things happening at home. That's why it's called family and friends CPR. So it's not really for job workers per se, but for you to know what to do in case of emergency. Like the regular BLS course of medical persons, those are offered 3 times per month. Also our first aid class, and that's offered once per month. If a company or group of persons or a school wants a training, they can give us a call. They can get any training at any day they want.
Well, I decided to participate in the course because I thought it was important for persons to, well, for me, to be equipped, you know, possibly save somebody's life or even a family member of mine life. So that's the main reason why I decided to participate in the course.
Professional development is key, and so having to receive trainings like these, it allows you to, well, work with youth a lot. So it allows us to empower them in those same regards as well. And for my own personal development, I'm thinking, who wouldn't want to save a life if the opportunity arises?
You can get more information on CPR and the training sessions and cost on the Heart Foundation's website at www.heartfoundationja.org. Gas prices are to go up by $3.06 today. The state-owned oil refinery, Petrojam, says E1087 will sell for $129.21 per litre and a litre of E1090 for $132.04. Automotive diesel oil will go up by $1.98 per litre to sell for $134.06. The price of kerosene will move up by $1.14 to sell for $111.52. In the meantime, propane cooking gas will go up by 75 cents to sell for $37.63, while butane will go up by 33 cents to sell for $39.56 per litre. Please be reminded that retailers will add their own markup. The US dollar on Wednesday, July 3, ended trading at Jamaican $132.65, up by 56 cents. And that's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $102.45, up from $101.59. While the British pound sterling ended trading at Jamaican $166.47, up from $165.85. In regional news, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has appealed to the international community to give special consideration to regional nations that need the help but do not qualify for financing. The UN boss made the call as he addressed the opening of the 40th annual CARICOM Heads of Government Summit on Wednesday in St. Lucia.
And we'll take the steps we can to improve access to development financing as a priority. I agree with you that eligibility for official development assistance and other forms of concessional financing should include vulnerability criteria in addition to gross national income per capita. I have to say that I have assisted to many interesting technocratic discussions about vulnerability and what it means. But having visited several small island development states in the Pacific and the Caribbean, I never found one that was not a clear case of vulnerability that should be recognized by all.
The Secretary General also gave his support to the region on the issue of climate change. He said the speed at which Caribbean nations can access climate change financing must be improved.
For the international community to consider seriously how best to address the rising problems of over-indebtedness of middle-income countries. This slows their progress towards sustainable development and makes them even more vulnerable to external shocks. I strongly support the ECLAC proposal to convert debt to investment in resilience through the Debt for Climate Adaptation Swap and Resilience Building Initiative. And I know that several other initiatives are being prepared, and namely under the leadership of the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. And I would like to express this total support of the United Nations and my personal support to any initiative aiming at creating the conditions to allow for adequate financing, for building resiliency, and for recovering for the devastation of climate accidents.
In sports, Jamaica's 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup campaign ended at the semi-final stage last night following a 1-3 loss to the United States of America inside the Nissan Stadium in Tennessee. The Americans will now oppose Mexico in Sunday's final at Soldier Field in Chicago, while the Reggae Boys will head home today. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.